This is the Sirui SVT75 tripod, and this is the SVH15 fluid head. This is Sirui's latest tripod, and it is a heavy-duty carbon fiber tripod with my favorite feature of all, single leg lever locks to have single height adjustment of the entire tripod. There are a lot of interesting features about this tripod. Let's go over them and I'll tell you what I think at the end. Sirui says that the legs weigh 9.5 pounds. The head weighs 8.2 pounds, coming together for 17.7 pounds. However, whenever I weighed this and this package without my camera on it weighed 17 pounds. And that is heavy enough to where it's not too heavy to bring around with me, but it is heavy enough that it plants itself in place and I can adjust the pan and the tilt and both at the same time with one hand, and I don't have to constantly have my other hand, stabilizing the tripod when I'm moving it around. That was really nice. So it's kind of a nice balance between weight and performance. I love that the legs of this tripod are carbon fiber, and I really love these rubberized grips that come with the bottom of this tripod. It's very nice that I can have somewhere to grab onto, and it's not just on one of the legs like some other tripods have, it's on all three. With one lever, you can adjust the height of the entire leg, and I absolutely love that feature. One thing that if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a story right when I got this tripod, and I was a little concerned right out of the box. Is it possible that I could lock this halfway and then over time my tripod slowly moves over time? That was my one concern with this tripod, and I'm very happy to say I've locked them just that hard and they've all stayed in place. So I think the locking mechanism is really about right here on the lock. You can feel it. It's hard to translate that to video, but you can feel it and it's like halfway. As long as these are all the way down, you know that the tripod leg isn't going to slowly seep down over time. I said I was going to be maybe a little rougher on these latches just to test them out before I was going to give a review about this. So I've been using this tripod for almost 3 weeks now, and I've been using it just about every day. And I always laugh when I go to unlock these because I'm like flipping them over a little harder than I should. And when I put them down, I punch them down. So I've been kind of putting a lot of wear and tear that may not be intended on these levers just to test them out. And I've been very happy to say that these levers have performed well and they haven't loosened up over time. I like that they're easy to close because once you open up all three of these levers, getting your camera into place, let's say I want it right there, I can lock these into place with one hand, and it's a little weird to do when you're sitting down next to it. But now that the legs are in place, I haven't had an issue of these legs settling down over time. Let's lower this thing back down into frame a little bit here. One thing I've liked when actually, behind the tripod adjusting it, on the Pro version, there's the included handle, and with the Allen key in there, it's convenient for, safekeeping. But whenever I'm adjusting the legs of this tripod, I would usually do that with one hand and the other hand would be on the handle, because one thing that could be awkward about adjusting every leg at once is that you have to support all the weight of your camera and the head and the tripod legs while you're adjusting it up and down. And holding on to one leg while you're doing that is a little bit awkward. However, there's really no great way to hold onto the center column of the tripod, but having this handle that is attached to the center column, the bowl, actually makes it easy to do adjustments straight up and down, and you don't have those weird legs that are one of them's a little off kilter than the other. As long as you're lifting straight up, the legs are actually good at settling down into place in a pretty level fashion. Another note about this tripod is the spreader, and there's probably a better way to show this off, but this spreader, whenever I was first putting it on, was actually locked, and I installed it, and I was not able to break the legs down of this to put it into the bag. So whenever at the end of the day, I always had to unlock the center column and then unlock each one of these legs to allow some slack to actually move in this spreader. So I got a little bit annoyed unlocking each of these legs. And what I did was I only locked the center column of the spreader when I was using this. And if I wasn't, doing a lot of abrupt pans and tilts, I typically don't do a lot of like whip pans or tilts or anything like that. But that being said, I never ran into a problem having all of these legs unlocked on the spreader and only locking the center column here. That was the only way I was able to break this tripod down at the end of the day, because if you leave the spreader locked in the center, there's no way you're able to break this tripod down. But if you unlock it and pick it up in the center, then you can break it down a lot easier. I would say if you're on the fence about the Pro and the Lite version, I think the Lite version does not include this spreader. And as much of a pain as it is to try to take this apart, just to remember that your spreader is still locked and you have to unlock it, I think it does add a lot of stability to this tripod system. So if you're having a heavier camera, I would definitely consider getting the spreader. Sorry if I sound like crap too, I'm sick. When it comes to taking the head off of the tripod legs, it's pretty simple. You can loosen the bottom column here, and there's a button. I don't know if you can see it, but you can just simply remove this after unscrewing it a little bit, and the head will just come straight out. And again, you can press this button, slide it in there, and snug it up. And if you want to throw this onto a slider or any other kind of a rig, you can remove the bottom of the tripod head here, and you have a 3/8 with a flat base, so you can just throw this on a tripod or any other kind of rig. Putting this back on the tripod, again, loosen it up a little bit, press the button, it just slides right off. Put it onto your tripod legs. You can press the button, slide this up, couple spins, and it is securely back on. You probably want to level it. And we're back on and level. A quick note about taking your camera on and off of this tripod. This tripod, you can actually side load your camera by unlocking the tripod head, pressing down on this lever, and just taking it off sideways. You don't have to put it on the base plate. Side loading your camera is much easier, making sure your base plate is unlocked, sliding it into place. Then you can find the balance. There's locks on the front and the back, so it's not going to fall off. Then lock it into place. I think the counterbalance system alone makes it very interesting, because I can use this on my smaller cameras, but I can also use this on my FX6 and rig it out even more. And if I have any cameras in the future that are heavier, I can adjust the counterbalance to appropriately match what the weight of that setup is. So what do you guys think of Sirui's new tripod? Let me know in the comments down below. And thank you guys for sticking around to the end and dealing with my sick voice, and I'll see you in the next one.